Good morning to all. Good morning to everyone. So, this is your topic of discussion for today. You can see on your screen the heading. The heading of the topic is the substitution and income effects from the price effect. The substitution, or you can give the heading substitution effect, income effect, price effect. Write like this. Listen to me and write, okay? The substitution effect, income effect, and price effect. The substitution effect, income effect, and price effect for normal, inferior, and given goods. The substitution effect, income effect, and price effect for normal goods, inferior goods, and given goods. For normal goods, inferior goods, and given goods. The substitution effect, income effect, and price effect for normal goods, inferior goods, and given goods. Okay. So today we will see the substitution, income, and price effect for normal goods only. Normal goods are general goods for which the when price decreases, demand increases. When price increases, demand decreases. Those goods are all called normal goods. Okay. And inferior and given we'll do tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Then we will have a clear idea about that. First, we will know what is inferior good and what is given goods, and after that we will learn the substitution, income, and price effect. Okay. So today we will cover up the substitution, income, and price effect for only the normal goods. So we begin with the description, what is actually there, what is going to be actually there, and then we will carry on with the real process. So far we have seen that a fall in the price of say good X given the price of good Y increases its demand. This we have been doing for the last few days. When price of a particular good say X falls, given the price of Y is not changing but X is changing, so that will bring an increase in demand for the good X, right? Because price of good X is falling while Y is not changing, it is as it is. So this scenario will bring an increase in demand for the good X. This is a common phenomenon. This is the price effect. This effect is called the effect of on the demand due to the increase or decrease in price is called the price effect. Okay. Now this is the price effect which has dual effects. Now it is said by the economists, and they have proven also that this price effect is also combined by two more effects. Those are called substitution effect and an income effect. The substitution effect relates to the increase in the quantity demanded of X when its price falls, while keeping the real income of the consumer constant. The substitution effect relates to the increase in the quantity demanded of X, because when price of X is falling, the demand for this product is increasing. So the substitution effect will relate to this increase in the quantity demanded for X when its price falls, okay, while keeping the real income of the consumer constant. Real income means the income which the consumer can actually spend for buying the goods and services. His income is something, and out of the income he has to pay the taxes and all that, or if interest is there, he has taken any loan, he will pay off that. After that, whatever income is left to him for spending on consuming goods and services, that will be the real income. Okay, so when the substitution effect will relate to the increase in the quantity demanded of X when its price will fall, but the substitution effect will also consider that the real income of the consumer will not change. Okay. What does that indicate? Let us see. Let us discuss it elaborately. Otherwise, you will not understand the fact. Yes, now see. The consumer substitutes the cheaper good X for the relatively dearer good Y. So this is a common phenomenon that if two goods are substitutable, obviously X and Y has to be substitutable. Now when price of one good will fall, obviously the consumer will substitute the cheaper good for the dearer good, that is Y. He will decrease the quantity of Y being consumed and he will go on increasing the consumption of good X. This is a common phenomenon. The income effect is the increase. The income effect is the increase in the quantity demanded of X when the real income of the consumer increases as a result of the fall in the price of X, while the price of Y is held constant. While substitution effect, as I was explaining this previous line, it was saying that the real income of the consumer will be kept constant, and then the substitution effect will be found out, which will be related to the increase in the quantity demanded of X due to its fall in the price. But the income effect says it is the increase in the quantity demanded of X when the real income of the consumer increases, because it is assuming that when price of one good will fall, the income available for the consumer to spend on consuming goods and services, that will increase because the price of X has fallen. That's why he will have more amount in his hand to spend. So this income effect is that increase, is exactly that increase in the quantity demanded of X when the real income of the consumer increases as a result of the fall in the price of X while the price of Y is held constant. Okay, income effect is what? It is exactly the change in quantity demanded of X when the when the real income of the consumer will increase because the price of X has fallen and price of Y is constant. It is not changing. It's not that price of X has fallen but price of Y has increased, so that the real income is also the same. It has not happened as such. What has happened is price of X has fallen while Y has remained the same. That's why it is assumed that the real income of the consumer has increased. There are two methods of separating these two effects from the price effect. So when we say that due to this price effect, this demand has only increased, but under this price effect, we can see two more effects. One is substitution and one is income effect. Okay, so there has to be certain methodology for separating these two effects from the price effect. And there are actually two methods for separating these two effects, that is substitution and income effect from the price effect. And the methods are called the Hicksian method and the Slutsky method, which will be explained now. One method is called Hicksian method. It has been developed by Hicks, Professor Hicks. He is an economist. And the other method is called the Slutsky method. Slutsky method is the name of also an economist who has developed these methods of separating the two effects, that is substitution and income effect, from the overall price effect. Okay. Okay, so let us see that what is this Hicksian method and what is this Slutsky method. and how these effects are actually separated from the overall price effect. Hicks has separated the substitution effect and the income effect from the price effect through compensating variation in income. This is an important concept, okay, in economics, which you have to learn properly. This concept is called compensating variation in income. This has been developed by Hicks, and he has developed it in order to separate the substitution effect and the income effect from the price effect. How he has done it? He has done it by changing the relative price of a good while keeping the real income of the consumer constant. Hicks how he has separated the substitution and the income effect from the price effect. He has done it with the help of compensating variation in income, which is done by changing the relative price of a good. That means he will change one of the price of the good, which can be Trishti. Trishti is unable. Tell her to join. I was not seeing any notification. Poonam, tell Srishti to join again and wait for a while, okay? Maybe due to network problem, because I'm not getting any notification. I'm allowing everyone who is joining now. Maybe she has some network issue. Okay, so what has been done in compensating variation in income? Here, the relative price of a good has been changed while the real income of the consumer has been kept constant. Now, it is a general phenomenon that if the price of a good will decrease, then the real income of the consumer will increase because he will have more money to spend for consuming good X, isn't it? But in Hicks' approach, what he has done is he has used a concept called compensating variation in income, where he has changed the relative price of a good, but he has not said that due to this change in the relative price of the good, the consumer's real income will also change. He has not done that. What he has done is he has changed the relative price of a good. He has either increased or decreased, but he has kept the effect of this price on the real income of the consumer constant. He has said that the consumer will not change his real income. Maybe the money that he will be saving by purchasing that same quantity of X at a lower price, he will use the money for investment or for saving, but he will not consume this money. And thus the real income of the consumer has been held constant. This is the concept of compensating variation in income. Okay, so it may come in your exam also separately. Define compensating variation in income. Okay, I'll try to give you the answer separately as well. All right, now we will try to understand this fact with the help of some diagrams. Okay, suppose initially the consumer is in equilibrium at point R. Now, by using yesterday's concept, what we had seen, there is an indifference curve and one straight line will pass by touching that indifference curve at only one point. That straight line is called what? What is the name of the straight line? Who knows the answer? Tell me. When a straight line will pass and it will touch the indifference curve at only one point, what is that straight line called? Who knows the answer? What is the name of that straight line that touches the indifference curve at only one point? And we say that the consumer is in equilibrium at that point. It becomes a tangent to an indifference curve. What is that straight line called? Please answer, anyone? Budget line, yes.
Budget line.
Yes, very good. Parveen, sort of. Yes, very good. That line is called a budget line. The line which is touching the indifference curve at a single point, and it is becoming a tangent to that point, and we say that the consumer is in equilibrium. This is exactly the last topic we did yesterday, isn't it? So initially the consumer in this figure, we have to follow this figure also. While reading these lines, we will follow this figure as well. Okay. Suppose you see, you just enlarge the image and listen to my words. Okay. You can enlarge the image on your screen and then listen to my words. That will be easier for you to understand. Suppose the initially the consumer is in equilibrium at point R on the budget line PQ. On the budget line PQ, you see, follow my arrow. This PQ is suppose the budget line, okay, and the indifference curve is I1. This is the I1 indifference curve, okay. You should draw this diagram after this class. You will see this. Take a screenshot now. You will draw this diagram in your copy, okay. I will upload the link tonight in your Moodle also, so that you can refer. But this drawing the diagram is quite a difficult task, okay. You have to be in practice. So after the class, you should draw this diagram in your copy, or you can draw it now also if anyone wants. So initially, suppose the consumer is in equilibrium and the point is called R. This concept we know. When the budget line PQ is touching the indifference curve I1 at a point R, then we say that the consumer is in equilibrium. This we have done yesterday. At point R, that means what is the quantity of good X? At point R, it is OB, right? In the diagram, look at the diagram, it is OB. We are just drawing a perpendicular line from that tangent point or that equilibrium point on the x-axis, and we saw that the quantity of goods at this equilibrium point R was OB. This is called the equilibrium quantity of goods X, okay. So is tangent to it at point R. Okay. Now let the price of good X fall. Let us assume that the price of good X is falling. As a result, what will happen? Normally, his budget line rotates outward to PQ1, because when the price of good X is falling, it means that he will have more money in his hand. The consumer will have more money in his hand to spend. That means if good X price is falling, the consumer's budget line will increase. He will have a little more budget to spend, right? So let the price of good X fall. As a result of this, his budget line rotates outward. Now from PQ, which was at the initial stage, from PQ, it will move outward to what? It will move outward to say PQ1 now. It was PQ. Now this point P is same because good Y's price has not fallen. So it will be at the same point, but this point on the x-axis will become will move rightwards because the price of X has fallen, thus the quantity demanded of X will increase. Am I correct? This x-axis and y-axis are giving you the number of units of the goods. Okay, they are not the price. You have to think what could be the effect on the quantity demanded due to the change in price, and likewise you will have to plot the diagrams. Understood? So when the price of X will fall, the budget line of the consumer will increase and it will on the right towards the right hand side. And now the new budget line will be PQ1. Am I correct? It will be now PQ1. Now here the consumer will be in equilibrium at the point T. Now here also, since the budget line is increasing, he is buying greater number of units of good X. That means, so that shows that his indifference curve is also going higher, because this is again a concept of the indifference curve, that is ordinal approach, that the more quantity of goods being consumed, that means it will give more satisfaction level to the consumer. Thus, the indifference curve will also move higher. So following that concept, it is assumed that the indifference curve is now I 2. It is no longer I1 now. It has moved to I2 because the budget line has increased, and now the new equilibrium is at the point T. It was at R. Now it has moved to T. Since the budget line has moved rightward, it has moved outward, it has increased. Understood? So now the new equilibrium point on the higher indifference curve I2 is what? It is now T. The equilibrium point has changed from R to T. If I say that that T is the new equilibrium point, then at this point, what is the number of units of good X being consumed? Again, we will draw a perpendicular line from this point on the x-axis, and it will be at the point E. So now, what is the amount of X that will be consumed? It will be OE. Previously, it was OB. Now, it has become OE. All right. The movement from R to T or B to E. We can say that the movement has occurred either from R to B or from B to E, because we have drawn perpendicular lines from R and T respectively on B and E. So either we can say that the movement has occurred from R to T or from B to E on the horizontal axis. What is this movement called? This movement is called the price effect of the fall in the price of X. This movement, no, from B to E, this particular movement, this particular area from B to E is nothing but your price effect, which has occurred due to the fall in the price of good X. Okay. Now, with the fall in the price of X, the consumer's real income normally increases. Am I correct? Because normally it is said that whatever income the consumer will be having, and he is allowed to spend on good X and good Y is there. But if the price of one of the good decreases, that means he will have more money to spend. That's why it is assumed that his real income will also increase. So with the fall in the price of X, the consumer's real income increases. To make the compensating variation in income, in order to isolate the substitution effect, now we will bring on the concept of compensating variation in income using Hicksian method. We are using Hicksian method now. Just a minute, huh? You just draw the diagram in your copy. I'm sorry, huh? I had an important work. So you saw what that now we have to bring the concept of compensating variation in income in order to. So in order to bring this compensating variation in income in effect, so what we will do is we will have to isolate the substitution effect, right? Now the consumers, in order to isolate the substitution effect, the consumer's money income is reduced equivalent to PM of Y. Now we will not say that the real income of the consumer will increase, rather we will reduce it to some amount, and which will be equivalent to PM of Y. Say now we will reduce the real income of the consumer, and in other words we will bring down the budget line. Okay, now we will develop a new budget line which will be parallel to this PQ1 line. PQ1 was a line that was formulated as a result of the decrease in the price of good X, right? Now we will draw another parallel line. Okay, now drawing this parallel line is quite difficult. You have to do it carefully. You have to draw in such a way that it is not only parallel to this line PQ1, but also it will touch this indifference curve at a point. I'm repeating, you have to draw this new budget line in such a way that this will not only be parallel to the line PQ1, but also it will touch the old indifference curve at a point. Are you getting my point? When you will draw this graph, then you will feel the difficulty. Or some of you may draw it easily also. That will depend on your clarity, on your intelligence. Okay. So what the concept is, first we will draw a budget line PQ, and there will be an indifference curve I1. There will be a tangent line. There will be a line which will be tangent to this indifference curve, and it will touch the indifference curve at a point R. At this point R, the number of units that can be purchased of good X had been OB. Now we are saying that the price of good X will fall. Thus, the budget line of the consumer will increase. But the price of good Y is not changing. So, the budget line will become a little flatter and it will move outward, and the new budget line that will be formed is of PQ1 now. Okay. And there also we will draw an indifference curve I2 that will touch this new budget line at a point T. Now again we will draw a perpendicular line from T on the x-axis, and it will meet the x-axis at the point E. So this movement from R to T or B to E is nothing but your price effect. Okay. Now this has been drawn by using the normal phenomena, that when the price of one good is falling, the real income of the consumer is increasing. But using the Hicksian method, we have to bring on the compensating variation in income concept into the scene, and we have to use it in order to isolate the substitution effect. There is also a presence of a substitution effect, okay, which cannot be shown without using the compensating variation in income concept. Now, what is this compensating variation in income concept? It says that the real income of the consumer will not change. Thus, what we will do is we will reduce the money income of the consumer equivalent to PM amount on the y-axis. PM, see, PM amount on the y-axis, or Q1 or Q1N or Q1N amount of the of x-axis, on the x-axis. So what we are doing? We are now drawing. We will draw a budget line which will be parallel to PQ1, not PQ, okay? The budget line has to be parallel to the line PQ1, so that it is tangent to the original indifference curve I1 at the point 8. So this thing has to be drawn clearly, and it has to be so much accurately drawn by you, and you have to use a pencil and a ruler for drawing all these things, because otherwise you will not be able to draw it properly. So what you will do, you will draw a budget line, new budget line MN, which will be parallel to the line PQ1, and it will touch the old indifference curve I1 at a point H now. Okay, and from H again, we will draw a perpendicular line on the x-axis. Understood? Are you understanding? The movement from R to H on the curve I1 is the substitution effect. Now this movement from R to H, previously it was tangent at the point R. Now this new budget line is tangent at the point H on the same indifference curve, that is I1. This is the substitution effect, whereby the consumer increases his purchases of X from B to D. Now he will increase his purchase from B to D on the horizontal axis by substituting X for Y because it is cheaper. It may be noted that when there is a fall or rise in the price of good X, the substitution effect always leads to an increase or decrease in its quantity demanded. It will be a vice versa relationship. Understood? So what I am saying, I am repeating it again. This movement from R to H or B to D is nothing but your substitution effect. Understood? So price effect was what? Price effect was that when the budget line got changed from the point PQ to PQ1. When it changed from PQ to PQ1, that movement was related to the price effect. But in order to bring the substitution effect into the scene, Hicksian method or Hicksian methodology had used the compensating variation of income concept, and it has said that the real income of the consumer will not change. Thus, what we will do, we will draw a parallel line to the straight line PQ1. We will draw the parallel line MN in such a way that it will touch the old indifference curve at a different point. It will be a tangent at a different point other than R. So that movement from R to H is nothing but your substitution effect. Understood? So price effect and substitution effect should be clear to you, and tomorrow we will do the income effect and other some points are there that we will do tomorrow. Understood? So this price effect and substitution effects should be clear to you first. Only then we can move on to the income effect concept. Okay. Okay, then I will share this link on Moodle also so that you can do a revision. After the class only I'll upload it. And then we will do the other effects tomorrow, and three different types of goods has to be done in this concept. Okay. So we will take some time for doing this. We will take this entire week, and after that we will be able to finish this normal, given and inferior goods. From today's discussion, everything should be clear to you. That is the price effect and the substitution effect when we are using Hicksian method. Okay. After that, tomorrow we will do the Slutsky method, and how this Slutsky method will come into the action in this diagram, that we will see tomorrow. Okay. All right, then you can leave the meeting and see you again tomorrow. And everything should be clear to you. Okay. If you have any doubt, you should ask me tomorrow. It's bolo. Who is this? Tell me. Oh, thank you, ma'am. You said. Okay, all right. Bye bye. Thank you. See you again tomorrow. And I expect all of you to clear these two concepts today.